these times for me, even though, Craig and I may appear, jovial and making a few jokes and very light, we do that from, I believe, a good position of knowledge. So knowledge is everything. And what I'm really hoping to do here with my years of training, my years of heading up performance management teams, my years of interacting with people, and my years of being corrected by my wife continuously about my communication manner. I'm hoping I'm getting better at that. What we'd like to do is talk about all things and everything, but at the same time bring a little bit of look. I'm not going to use the word relax or calmness because these times are cautious times. But if we research well and we take our information from the correct media sources and the correct people, then we're going to have a more realistic and manageable process to protect ourselves, our loved ones, and indeed our population, through this time.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And I've been saying, I suppose I've done it myself, is switch off mainstream media. I think we need to be aware that, mainstream media is about, you have sensational headlines because you click that headline and then that earns them money. So there's a reason those headlines are that way. So I sort of stick to the World Health Organization, our Australian government sites as well, just so we know what we're doing. Because I think the fact is, if we keep looking at these rising statistics, they're going to rise.
Absolutely.
We need to know that, and so don't be alarmed. They will rise, and all we can really do is stick to what we can control, and that's by doing the right thing and staying at home as much as possible, and social distancing and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, look, it's like football, and both you and I have a very extensive background in elite sport and athletic training. And when it comes to the game, we're always talking about the controllables. You can't control the ref, but you can control your actions. You can't control the crowd, but you can control your response. You can't control your teammate, but you can control what you bring to the game. And it's exactly the same for this situation and where we are now. You have controllables around you, and starting there, standing up now and looking around your environment where you're standing, and Craig, you can stand up because I know you got pants on, but you stand up and there are things around you right now that you can control. I have 2 sons and a wife. I can't really control them, but I can really push on the hygiene, on if they don't, but if they did leave the house, the process of coming back into the house. And these are just necessary things we have to do. The one thing that I don't let occur in the house is I don't let hypothetical situations be discussed in the house. And that's because they're hypothetical. And hypothetical means they're possibilities. They're not actually happening. And then what happens is that's where the grey noise occurs. Everyone starts talking about hypothetical things and we move away from the controllables.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think the question we probably need to put out of our mind is, when is this going to end? And you and I both know, being involved in sport, where we just had the NRL, the competition you're involved in and I'm involved in, closed down. Another competition I'm involved in, the Australian Soccer League, closed down as well, the A-League. But I've sort of been through this for a while now, because a Japanese team I work with, they've been closed down, since late February. So we've been working through these processes, and we can't control that. It is what it is. And we can't say it's going to be back in a month or 2 months. I'm not even thinking like that. I think it's really important we sort of live our life in day-tight compartments. And I think if we do that, we're going to be much better off. Because what we do know, Donnie, getting back to, I suppose, our area, is stress and anxiety is the enemy of immunity. And at the moment,
100%.
We need immunity.
Tell me, what are those hormones again? What are we looking at? What elevates during that time, Craig?
Well, cortisol. And cortisol is a real enemy for us, and that's the stress hormone. And as that goes up, and that's a problem. Look, a lot of the stuff we're talking about is a problem in everyday life. We're going to have these stressors it could be work, it could be traffic, it could be whatever. And it seems to be that, we're really, got these so much in our life every day. Now we've got an added one on COVID-19. And so our cortisol and a lot of people will be going through the roof. So we need to manage that because it's the absolute enemy of immunity. And you and I have both seen through testing and all the work we do with athletes, when we measure these things, and we see the ones that are high levels, because they're highly stressed and highly anxious, what's the next thing that often happens is they get sick or they get injured. Or they've got high levels of fatigue, and that's what we don't want in everyone out there. So it's very important that we look at how we're going to maximize our immunity and keep our stress levels down, and there's ways we can do that.
Yeah, and it's a real common statement, but it's true. You just can't be at your best and help those around you if you're not at your best. And so what you have to do is you honestly have to look after yourself. Now, in a physical sense, that's taking your probiotics, taking your vitamins, good hygiene, the day-to-day practices that you should be doing to keep yourself well and eating well. The second thing is that in order to do those things, you're exactly right, Ray. You've got to have a clear mind. You've got to have a mind that can deal with these things and put them in the right places in your head so that you can almost compartmentalize them, and deal with them in orders of priority. But the only way you can do that is when you have a knowing. And that's why, and I'll bring it back to sport because that is my real expertise and yours, review, debrief on situations, debrief on games, debrief on losses, and then we move forward and we review the next place we're going. Because we can't afford in 7 days, or the turnaround time for a match, to have all these unknowns floating around and possibilities floating around. We very quickly have to get to what happened here. Why do we think that happened? How can we validate that those are the overwhelming percentage rate reasons that it happened? And then we need to learn to deal with that. And you sitting at home or wherever you are, that's exactly what you have to do. Don't worry about what they're doing down in aisle 7 down at Coles, because that's not what's hurting you right now. Don't worry about if you can or can't get to something. What you need to be doing is just trying to put things in perspective where you are in the house, and then coming up with small plans. I know it sounds easy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not playing down, the intensity of the situation. But what I am saying is that, in a shit fight and when things are going wrong, you do have to have a basic level of knowledge or calmness or skill, tactical skill that you drop back to so that you can start climbing again. And your most basic level is your well-being. And Craig and I, over the next week, we're going to talk about all the different types of platforms and exercise and meditation and all the things that we use, the debrief, the review. We're going to talk about all those things that you might be able to just put into practice and help you get through this time. Are we going to save the world? No, we're not going to save the world. I mean, the world doesn't want saving. The world turns every day. It's called evolution, baby. That's what happens. Yeah. But what we are going to do is we're going to make it a hell of a lot more pleasant place for you to live in. That's all we're aiming for.
and I think the key things that that you can do from day one is what we found and what we've been discussing about with the men that we work with and the women that we work with in sport. These people have high levels of routine in their life. And now we have concerns about that because we're now removing that routine, and what we're focused on is keeping that routine. And now that's what we've got to do with anyone out there right this minute, is that you might have a routine that you're going to work every day, and that might have changed. Okay, so it's very important that you stick to your routine as much as you possibly can. And then the 3 pillars I talk about: sleep, number 1. You've got to keep, your sleep. It's very, very important for your immunity. exercise, we've still got to exercise, and we'll be talking about that. Like at the moment in Australia, at least, we can exercise outside, so that's great. But we've got, I've got players overseas presently that we've worked on with programs where they're only in a very small room. We can combat that. And the other thing is to eat well, and that just doesn't mean eating all that pasta that you got from aisle 7. That 27 bags of pasta you're putting in your bag.
Yeah. Don't eat the toilet rolls because you could choke.
No, but
and people who hoard toilet rolls, that might happen. So
yeah, we're not going to talk about toilet rolls because Donnie's you're going to see him change colours. But look, even on that, I think that we've got to think that I've been to multiple times to the shop, and I haven't seen people fighting. I've seen people conducting themselves in a correct manner. And
they are settling down.
And as much as we can stay calm, the best we're going to be. But sleep, good nutrition, and keep exercising and keep that routine going. And we'll chat about that. And Donnie and his wife Leanne have had this wonderful thing of this 21 days of abundance, Donnie. I would say it's probably going to take me 65 days to complete because I'm actually doing more work on that than I think anything else. But what it's doing is helping me reflect and stay calm. So that's a really good thing. Do you want to just have a bit of a quick chat about that one?
Oh, yeah. Look, I got to tell you, an ex-player of mine, Josh Perry, right? Josh Perry, he sends me this thing on WhatsApp and it says 21 days of abundance. And it's by... you know what? I'm so wrapped up in it, I forgot who put it together. You might remember.
Wow, I thought you did.
No. Yeah, I'm not a swami. But anyway, the thing is that what I found with that is that it's a short piece of work on yourself. And I'm sure you'll agree with me. Some of it's a little bit confronting, but it really makes you pull things apart and in a good way. And then it has the meditation, audio meditation at the end.
Mm.
Well, I'll tell you, that's really both Leanne and I have been doing that, and it's really made a difference. And it really is about reading, doing the little task, And as you and I both know, the first task was making a list of 50 people or more that had influenced you in any way. It could have been negative, positive, whatever, but they had shaped you and changed you. And and I looked at that and I thought, 50. I got mum and dad. Who are the other 48? And the thing is, once I sat there and then, even you made my list, Craig. You made my list.
You made mine too.
But the thing that got me was, as I sat there, the most important part of the task was when you thought about who should make that list, you thought about why. And then people you immediately couldn't help but go to and think, you'll never make that list, still bloody made it because they had influenced and shaped you.
Hey, I've got to stop.
Really interesting.
I've got to ask you a question that everyone's going to want to know. What about our favourite coach? Did he make your list?
He made 2 lists because in week 5, there's a list of people who really annoy you. So he gets to make both lists.
We love you, Dennis.
Mate, of course he made it, But actually, I'm about to go off and see him at a distance in a minute, and so just to see where we are with getting all our looking after our men. But I think this is going to be a really great thing that not we're doing. When I say we, I mean the listeners, all of us. And if there's any way that Craig and your great brilliance, you can find a way of getting elements of feedback, that would be great, because I think we've got plenty to share. We certainly don't have all the answers, but what I will say quite unashamedly is we're very good at building strategies to get to that answer. And if we weren't, we wouldn't be in the high performance element. So I'm looking forward to moving forward.
And that's right,
with this process.
Yeah. What we can do is we'll set it up how we can have a question and answer sort of thing as well. That would be great, because look, we're going to have lots of time to do this. And now I will say we'll finish up for today. if you didn't catch the first part of this, because I'm not that technologically great, so I missed. I might have started the recording a little bit late, but basically, this is Johnny Singe and Craig Duncan. We're going to chat. We're going to be doing this on a regular basis. We'll work out where we're going to post it, but please share it, and at all times send out any questions on human performance. But in actual fact, we have a lot of opinions in a lot of areas. We'll try and stay. I always talk about staying in our lane. We'll try and stay in that, but we'll try that. You know what's great, Donnie? I was just looking at you, and if the barber's closed, you're okay. That's why you don't.
I'll
have
tell you,
hair.
I'm an expert. With the face like this, you don't care about your hair, mate. You just do it. It's too late.
All right, and what we will do is, for those Manly supporters out there, and those great people will know. Look, there's no better hands than this club being in respect to Des Hasler and Donnie Singe, and we'll be looking after those men very, very much. So, look, we'll talk about that as we go on anyway. But anyway, that's us out for the day, and we'll see you again soon. Chat soon, Donnie.
Yeah. See you, mate. Bye-bye.